to read. Who is ensuring efficiency? And that starts with the controller's office. And we don't have that. So I think that in terms of climate change, being very intentional about every agency's carbon imprint is important. And then taking it a step further and looking at, again, these companies that we're investing in, right? Are they friendly to the planet? Impact investing is a big, is sort of resonated with a lot of endowment funds. The colleges are getting on board, and they're not investing in endowment funds in companies that are looked at as being sustainably insufficient. And I think that we're going to go in that direction as well if elected.
100%. Sustainability is something that is top of mind for so many people. And Virginia, in the course of this conversation, we talked about branding. We talked about you being sort of party agnostic and mostly looking at candidates for what they do for the people. So climate change is something that has definitely been a huge topic of contention, not just because of the difficulty of dealing with it, but also because of denial, climate change denial, different politicians being like, it doesn't exist, it's not a real thing. What are some things that you're looking for in a candidate that you're looking to support as somebody who's influential? And also, how are ways that candidates can sort of brand their appeal to climate change without alienating certain people?
Well, I think what happens on a global scale right now in terms of sustainability, we are seeing a huge shift even in fashion. And I think that says it all. President Emmanuel Macron started 3 years ago the Fashion Pact, and he aligned 300 top fashion brands in the world. We are talking even the fashion brands who are just so reluctant, right, to adapt to sustainability. You hear that brands like Versace, no longer Dolce & Gabbana, they no longer want to create real fur product, right? So even the fashion world that was the most reluctant is becoming so responsive to sustainability. We are talking about on a global scale, most of the industries that are factoring in and contributing to the global economy that are adapting to this change. Obviously, if there are so many scientists out there, right, they capitalize on sustainability, they see value, we must listen to the experts. It goes back to us, we can always say, oh, maybe it's not real. But if you listen to the right people, there's a reason why we have experts in this world, powerful personal brands. We must listen to them, that's their area of expertise. When it comes to sustainability, again, I'm looking for a politician to vote for a politician that is looking to build a planet for the future, for generations to come, for our children, right? Not just for us, because selfishly we can say we don't care because we are gonna be good for the next 10, 20 years. But do you care about bringing a legacy into the mix? I truly believe that we live in a society where we capitalize too much on instant gratification and we fail over and over again to pay attention to the long-term value of society, of humanity, how we can build something for the future. So what I'm looking for in a candidate, any type of politician I would vote for, if they are not focusing on sustainability, on protecting the environment, of the future of our children, future of generations to come, why would I want to vote for them? Because I'm thinking they are thinking today, they don't care about tomorrow. And I do care about the future. So
I love that response. And especially when you think about instant gratification, that definitely applies to health, wellness, fitness. So sort of a twofold question for you, Mark. One, what are some approaches to sustainability that people can incorporate in their wellness journeys? And two, when it comes to that sort of instant gratification of, okay, I'm thinking about today, not tomorrow, on my journey, how do you help people overcome that? Because it's almost automatic. I struggle with it a lot. I want this food now, and then I'm thinking about what the consequences might be tomorrow. So how do you help people overcome that?
Give me the first one more time.
The first one was, how have you helped people incorporate sustainable practices in their fitness journey?
Well, the answer to 1 and 2 are pretty much the same. And this is what I love about Kwanda as well, because most people, or most candidates that I encounter, when you talk to them about wellness, they're going to automatically tell you about their spiritual wellness, right? They're going to automatically tell you about their physical wellness. And then, of course, mental health is a big issue as well. But if you open it up, you heard Kwanda talk about environmental wellness just now. And that's so important because we need the planet to be there in order to achieve our wellness, right? You need occupational wellness. So you just heard Kwanda speak about that with oversight and auditing, so proper funds get allocated. So the way she looks at wellness in its totality, and that's how people need to do it who are struggling. You need to look at their environmental wellness, their occupational wellness, and their social wellness, and the social wellness of others, and understand that wellness is a different journey for each individual person, and it's going to look different based on the lifestyle that you have. And that's the biggest tip I can give to people, is to look at wellness in its totality, look at all the pillars. And I think the COVID was a big wake-up call for people. People actually realized that their level of wellness was better when they weren't going to work. The United States has one of the highest work hour weeks in the world. So when people were off work, they had less money, but they were like, hey, I'm less stressed, I feel better. So, we need to start looking at wellness in its totality. If we look at crime and kids running crazy, we need to look at nutritional wellness, because the brain is formulating at a young age, devoid of those nutrients. You start having chemical imbalances and behavioral problems. So we start to look at wellness in its totality and look at other people's wellness beyond our own, then we can start affecting change, and that's why I'm here with Kwanda.
That is actually a perfect segue into the next question I have. So, firstly, I want to comment on what you said about people feeling better when not going into work physically. Could not agree more. I love working from home, not imagining going back to the office. Just even like the day, having time to eat food peacefully is so important. So it's definitely part of that, like looking at wellness and totality, which not just includes you as a human being and the choices that you're making and institutions that are around you, but so much of the policies that craft how you're going to be able to take advantage of all the different things that impact your well-being. So what you mentioned about crime is something that I wanted to touch on. So one of the biggest issues with, or not issues necessarily, but topics that surround the Comptroller's office is police budgets. Defund the police is a huge, huge topic. Yet, New York City voted for Eric Adams. At best, he's a centrist. At worst, he's a Republican who ran as a Democrat on a very conservative platform about the police, and is very, very much against defunding the police, and uses every instance of unrest in the city to push more police budgets, which seems at odds with New York City's progressive angle. So it's like, how does this contradiction happen? So number one, I just want to get your thoughts on that contradiction. And as state comptroller, how would you audit police budgets?
I think, once again, it's important to look at wasteful spending. And it's important to understand that New York City, it has a population of over 8 million. A very small group of individuals came out to the polls and voted for Eric Adams. And when we talk about police budgets, we should focus more on the fact that regardless of what agency we're talking about, there is wasteful spending. Where is the majority of the police budget going to? Is it going to salaries? Is it for technology? We tend to, when I hear a lot of discussions about the police, it is, in New York City, we're a global city. And it's very important to keep every New York City resident safe. And that is, as from my perspective, an any means necessary budget. And so I don't necessarily just look at the police budget in terms of policing individuals from communities, but I look at it from a perspective of keeping all New York City residents safe. And when we talk about the role that the Office of Comptroller can play in that, with any agency, again, how much paper are you using, right? Where are those funds being utilized? And the question is, are they utilized effectively? And I would look at the fact that we can reduce those funds, that budget, if we are spending effectively. But again, it starts with not necessarily looking at what the budget is being, what these funds are being spent on, but again, focusing on efficiency. And again, in terms of, the election of Eric Adams, a very, very small group of individuals came out to vote for him. 753,000 votes don't represent the majority of New Yorkers, but he is the mayor, and at this juncture, right, what I would like to see from that administration is efficiency. I think that is important. I think that